Namaskar, my name is Manas Kapoor, and today I will be talking about a topic that is changing the entire global aspect because India is ushering into a forefront in the Make in India initiative by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Make in India initiative, to my mind, has been one of the most significant, structured, and outcome oriented policy initiatives by this Indian government in recent years. It was unlike many similar initiatives in the past, well structured, properly thought and thorough, had an identified set of priorities, originally 16 sectors, now grown to 25, and focused on the key issue dodging all inbound foreign direct investments in India. The ease, or rather the lack of, doing the business in India. It was also particularly well timed. The program itself was formally introduced on September 25th, 2014, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi had outlined it a month earlier. In his first Independence Day speech on August 15, 2014, Prime Minister Modi said, I want to tell the people of the whole world, come and make in India. Come and manufacture in India. We have skill, talent, discipline, and the desire to do something. We want to give the world an opportunity that come make in India. The timing was near perfect. The Chinese growth engine had beside started slowing down. Besides a new trade related tensions between the world's two biggest economies, the US and the China. But now, looking at the post-COVID China, much of the companies are facing jitters in in China, and they are looking to dilute their businesses. They were looking for a safe hedge bet against potential turmoil in their key manufacturing base, China, in 2014, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with a strong pro business image, had just burst on the scene, talking to the investors what investors love to hear, and what more, having absolute electoral mandate to enable them to walk the talk as well, without the many pressures of the coalition drama which his predecessor had to face. The Make in India initiative, when it took off, had ticked all the right boxes. The policy promised to clear the red tape that shrouded any potential inbound investor, create world-class infrastructure required by modern manufacturing industry, and bring in policies that helped foster a climate of innovation, and importantly, protect the intellectual property that resulted from the such innovation, something that global investors had little faith as far as China was concerned. So we had a plan. It was workable and it was well timed. Investors should logically have been beating a path to India to set up a mega manufacturing plant to supply the world. But has Make in India program achieved what it set out to? Years down the line, the picture is a bit muddled. True, in FDI terms, India is among the world's top destinations, garnering inflows of $49 billion in calendar 2019. According to UNCTAD, India now accounts for 85% of all FDI coming into South Asia, but then our competitors in the region are Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan. Is that something to be proud of? But FDI statistics include inflows into the capital markets, which still continue to account for lion's share of capital flows. Statistics on specific manufacturing sector FDI flows are a bit harder to come by. Manufacturing FDI was around 8 billion in 2018-19, accounting for less than a quarter of the total inflows. E-commerce, which has nothing to do with either manufacturing or Make in India, is one of the key sectors in the FDI. In some sectors, in particular, Make in India appears to be doing exceedingly well. There are over 100 mobile phone manufacturers in India, and market leader Samsung last year upped one of the largest manufacturing setups from China and moved it to Noida in Uttar Pradesh. Apple and Xiaomi are also invested seriously in Indian manufacturing capacity. Work is in progress. That is what we are told for the past 5 years. But judged from the yardstick of what it set out to achieve, Make in India is at best still a work in progress. The key stated outcomes were to increase the share of the manufacturing sector to 25% of the GDP and to create 100 million additional jobs in the manufacturing sector by 2022. Clearly, both have not happened. And going by the increasingly gloomy predictions of the GDP growth, unlikely to happen by the target year. Manufacturing share of GDP currently a shade under 15% is not likely to increase significantly over the next 2 years because of the COVID recession. And jobs, particularly relatively better paid, stable manufacturing jobs, to uh, continue to go down. Why hasn't Make in India worked? To understand this, we need to understand companies invest outside their home geographies. Looking at the our companies is a good place to start. Last year, Indian companies invested nearly $12 billion as FDI in other countries, and in India is one of the top 20 origin countries for global FDI. Why did they do that? Essentially, there are just three or four factors which drive corporates significantly, increasing the risk exposure by venturing into foreign land. The first and biggest push factor is the market access. If the rules are such that you cannot fully access the coveted market without investing in it, companies will invest. That is why Tata Steel bought Chorus. For instance, the second factor is acquiring technology. Again, this was a big factor in some of the Indian FDIs in recent years. Tata Steel wanted technology for special steels. Tata Motors bought Jaguar Land Rover for its world-class technology and design capability, and so on. The third factor is acquiring talent. In the IT space, for instance, a push and pull combination of a tougher visa rules and availability of high-end talent and access limiting restrictions, particularly for government orders, has led to Indian IT giants like TCS, Infosys, and are creating some serious capacity in the US. The final factor is securing raw materials and inputs for your domestic business. That is why Adani and Tata have bought mineral and coal mines abroad, and why ONGC makes investments in oil and gas resources. We need to ensure that the same factors apply in reverse as well. We have to make the market access tougher via a pure trade route. We need to ensure that Indian innovation attracts global investment. It is already happening in the startup space. We need not ensure that our talent does not migrate abroad but is headhunted in our own home, and we need to ensure that our precious natural resources are valued at home. Unless we tweak our policies to get these right, the Make in India lion cannot hope to be the king of the jungle. And now is the great time for investors to turn their heads towards India in this global recession, because we have cheap labor, we have talented labor, skilled labor, and most of all, land is the cheapest in India. So it is a great time for investors to come to India, and maybe the Make in India lion can be the king of the jungle by the end of this decade.